the plan was actually to drive further up the fjords to this restaurant and buy a couple of ice creams. It was going to be this perfect day. We run out of gas. And if you watch that video, you'll see it in her face. She's like, really? Is this happening? Like, the date was really going south. But as I show in my presentation, that is one of the most successful videos we made on that trip.
Welcome to Travel Matters, the official podcast of TBEX. Here are your hosts, the radio vagabond Palabo and TBEX CEO Rick Calvert.
Welcome to another episode of Travel Matters. Rick should be here right now, but he's not. And I'm sitting here with Martin Solhaugen from Norway. So me being Danish, you being Norwegian, and Rick not being here, should we do this in our native tongue?
Ja, that would be fun.
Det kunne være sjovt, kunne det ikke?
Det hadde vært veldig gøy. Spørs om noen hadde hørt på da, vi får se.
Yeah. Oh, we better not.
Yeah.
Rick might show up at some point,
right.
But I didn't want to keep you waiting any longer. Martin, you are the most successful Norwegian YouTuber.
Wow, yeah, I guess at this point, if we're talking about travel as a niche, that might be the case, yes.
Yeah, and you did not one, but two sessions back to back this morning.
I did.
About video content and storytelling. Tell us a little bit about what you did in the first session.
Absolutely. So in the first session, we talked about evoking emotions in video storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, ever since I started with YouTube, I feel like a lot of the videos that have been created is rooted in emotions. So the whole talk is about how people can leverage emotions, the emotional connection that your video will have with the audience that is watching. I believe a lot of the emotions is actually what keeps us engaged and what keeps us watching. So I've done some experiments, and it clearly shows that if you're tapping into the emotional connection with the audience in your video, that your viewer retention rate increases.
Yeah.
And the longer people are watching, the more money you can make as a creator.
Currently, you live in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And that happened on a press trip to Sri Lanka, where our mutual friend Chaminda invited you and a bunch of other content creators. I've been on a similar trip. Something happened to you that didn't happen to me. You met your future wife there.
I did. It's this crazy story that only becomes more crazier the older you get. Like, you start to get, experience, and you look at it in a different light. What happened is I was invited by chance through a friend on that press trip in Sri Lanka. And it was the first time they were going to try to do a press trip for YouTubers.
Oh, it was all YouTubers.
Well, it was more like YouTubers and adventure creators, people that wanted to jump from waterfalls. They wanted to show Sri Lanka in a different light than just the normal food blogs and things like that.
But still so Sri Lanka.
Yeah. So I walk into the room, and there's this girl, this Filipino lovely girl with a camera in my face. And we have on video the first time we're meeting.
That is on camera.
Yeah, that is on camera. And I say, hi, I'm the new guy. That's my first line. I don't know why I said it. It's really funny. We traveled that entire press trip together, and we stayed friends for a year.
There was no hanky-panky on that trip.
There wasn't no hanky-panky at the time, man. We were just like, I guess what I enjoyed about it, it was my first time meeting a girl that was a YouTuber that was interested in the exact
same. And she got
same.
you.
She did.
Yeah.
And we instantly filled each other's roles. Like, I was the drone photographer. She was the model running on the ridges. And like, we just understood each other and managed to work together in a really good way. So it wasn't until a year later when the first trip became a success in terms of reach for the tourism board that we were invited back for the same trip. Now, that time, I don't know. We were both singles, and it was a different story.
The stars aligned.
Stars aligned. We can say it like that. And yeah, I married her only 5 months ago.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then are you like Kaljanix, becoming a Filipino? Are you kind of the same?
It's a really good question. I really enjoy his content as well. I've been living in a lot of different places throughout my life, and I really enjoy tapping into cultures and understanding why we are so different throughout the world. I always grew up in Norway thinking that there's got to be something more. I felt like it was a bubble that was kind of enclosed. And like Denmark, we're not that many people. We're 5 million people, so it's hard for a niche to exist. I always felt like what I was interested wasn't that easy to find peers that was also interested in. So, but in the Philippines, everybody just loves travel content. So it's kind of easier for someone like me in my niche to make a name for myself down there.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily see myself chasing the citizenship. That's not why I'm there. I love Philippines, but I am there for the woman, I would say.
Right.
And the culture is the second thing.
Yeah.
But I could see myself living there, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I still have so much love for Norway too.
Yeah, circling back to your first talk today, where you talked about emotions in storytelling. You also talked about not being afraid to show off when you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And on that, you took her to Norway and on a romantic boat going out into the fjord, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And you switched the engine on. You sailed out there with the engine and had a beer and smiled and
everything was going great.
Ran out of gas.
I was so embarrassed when that happened because it was my first time taking Ave to Norway. First time on our cabin. You know, as a man, you're like, oh, I'm going to fix the boat. I'm going to take you out. The plan was actually to drive further up the fjords to this restaurant and buy a couple of ice creams. You know, it was going to be this perfect day. We run out of gas. And if you watch that video, you'll see it in her face. She's like, really? Is this happening? Like, the date was really going south. But as I show in my presentation, that is one of the most successful videos we made on that trip. Because you got to show your failures too.
Yeah, so it's almost as if it would be something that you would have done on purpose, but it was not.
Exactly. So I'm always curious if I could somehow do those things on purpose, but I can't come up with them. Like, it's so good when it just naturally happens. And it's human life, right? Sometimes those things do happen. So instead of hiding that, Ava chose to film it. Yeah. And she always did that. And I was like, stop filming this. It's embarrassing. But she knew somehow that this is the video now.
Exactly.
This is what's going to happen.
When in my travels, when something bad is happening and something that's annoying, I'm thinking, oh.
Yeah.
But the next thing I'm thinking is, oh, I'm in the middle of a good story right now.
You are.
So that is when I start recording. And I wish I could get better at recording a little bit before.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's happened so many times to me as well when I've been traveling. But Ave is really the one that's been like, hey, you got to film this. She just knows, we got to film this, you know?
And you're a perfect match because you're thinking alike. And when you forget to switch on the camera, she will.
Yeah, you're right. It's
and the other way around.
I'm very thankful to be traveling alongside someone that has the same passion. We're like one in a million. I always say we're the impossible relationship.
Yeah.
This Western culture that I'm from, growing up in Norway, marrying this Filipino girl from Manila. Like, what are the odds?
Other side of the planet, yeah.
In that early age.
Yeah.
You know, I was 28 when I married her. Like, that is not the common story that a lot of people see. Usually, you find your Filipina in your later life, you know? That's the common story. So I think a lot of people think that's fun.
Yeah. Then you did a second session.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to sit in on that one, but tell me a little bit about that, what that was about.
Absolutely. So my second talk is about how we can leverage trends in social media and how we can use that to grow our platforms. So it's basically based on experience since I started with content creation 7 years ago. Like, all these platforms have changed so much. And it's so important now to knowing that the trends is it's now relatable. All these different trends that are circulating on the platforms, if you can know how to jump on them, you can really stay relevant for so many more people and bring them to your platform. So that's kind of what the talk is about. How to tweak existing trends, not copying someone else's work, but use same music or the same concept to fit the niche that you're in. It's a very, very cool topic. And
So are we talking Reels or TikTok or?
Yeah, we're talking Reels. So to briefly take you through the process, as we look at, so a trend either starts from a relatable news event or something that happens in our culture. It can be a new music that's launched.
Yeah.
Whenever a new music comes out, there will be a lot of talk around it. If you make something that can tap into that nerve, that new event that's happening, a lot of people will kind of like your video because it's relatable. Oh yeah, that's what it's happening right now. So I show in my presentation how some smart companies like Ryanair, the low-cost airline here in Europe,
they have a great TikTok channel.
Yeah, a great TikTok channel. And they're so good at tapping into new trends when they arrive. But they don't copy that. They make it fit for the airline.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And I saw that and started doing it for my own channels and grew 15% following. That's the rate I'm at now per year. So we increased 100,000 followers across the platforms last year just by shorts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of new eyes on what I'm doing. That could potentially, what I'm hoping is that they will start watching my long format videos.
Right. So you put that out on YouTube Shorts?
Yeah.
And do you reuse the same video on TikTok and on Instagram Reels?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same one.
The same one.
Right.
So I don't, I don't have endless resources. I have a team of 3 people.
That's more than me.
I'm very happy with my team. They're great people. Shout out to my assistant, Sarah, and my editor, Je. But still, we don't have enough time to make content specifically for every platform. So we needed to figure out a way of how we can make a video that can run across all the platforms and hopefully reach some more people.
Yeah.
And we figured out a way to do it. And but what the data shows is Facebook, the platform that everybody's neglecting right now, is the booming platform.
That is interesting.
Right? I'll say something else to you. I've been a YouTuber for 7 years. But this month, I started making more on the same content that I'm publishing to YouTube on Facebook. The same content.
Wow.
So a lot of creators don't realize you can monetize your content also on Facebook. And it's this existing platform with, 1 billion users. And they've just started tweaking it now, the people in Meta, and somehow it's working. So I have a lot of friends. Someone told me about it. Now I'm telling it to you.
How are you monetizing Facebook video? That's breaking news for me.
Okay, so it works in the exact same way as YouTube.
Really?
You need 10,000 followers on Facebook, and then you get eligible to monetize your content. You upload it like a normal video, and when people watch it, there's an ad after 1 minute.
I had no idea.
Right.
I've never watched some videos where there was all of a sudden an ad on
Interesting.
Facebook.
It's fairly new. It's happened on the last year, but this new thing right now is really that if you break down the content, you can make more money on Facebook.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's basically a YouTuber's way now to double monetize. I mean, after the pandemic, the ad revenue on YouTube channels across the board went a little down because a lot of people were now competing with the shorts for the attention span. So I don't know what happened, but Facebook introduced the ability to now also monetize your videos on Facebook. When we started posting there, just the last month, we've been able to triple our income with the same content.
Do you post to Twitter at all? I'm curious.
I don't post anything to Twitter.
Because Twitter allows video now too.
Right.
And some podcasters are actually posting on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
And they really want to help creators monetize right now.
Really cool.
Because there's been, all kinds of drama with Twitter and Elon Musk coming in. It might be something to check out.
Absolutely.
Based on what you just told me.
Yeah.
And you'd be a good guinea pig. I'd love to hear if you test it out and see what happens.
I'm a fan of testing things. That's what I've been doing the last year. Always like pivoting, testing.
Because they've added a subscription on Twitter so people can subscribe to you like Substack and pay you a monthly fee to get get premium content.
Interesting.
So I'd be curious to see what happens with that.
Just before Rick joined us, you were talking about wanting to use your YouTube Shorts to convert to subscribers to your regular YouTube videos. Is it only the YouTube Shorts that convert, or is it also from TikTok and Instagram?
That's a very good question.
Because it's hard to see where they're coming from.
It's really hard to convert people from a platform to the other one.
Right.
What I think is also kind of what I learned in the marketing class. You have to see an ad 7 times. And if my face is the ad and I can hit you 7 times on different platforms and then you happen to be on YouTube, you recognize that face. I've seen that guy before. I have a really good example of that. Shout out to my good friend Jordan Twally, world traveler that for several years tried to make it on YouTube with long format content. Pandemic happened, started posting shorts. He has 1.2 million followers on YouTube now.
Yeah, and you mentioned that. How much was he? Was it like around 20,000? Yeah.
He did YouTube vlogs for 5 years. No one really watched his content, or they did, but it never took off.
No, and then
boom, he was born for shorts.
Yeah.
His thing though is the face. You recognize that face. He's always wearing an orange hat.
Uh-huh.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about hair.
Yeah. Let's go.
Well, I noticed, so I've had my hair down the last couple of days.
Yeah.
I put it up because I was doing the keynote this morning. But I noticed you had your hair down today.
Yeah.
You had it up for the net. Now you got it up again. But before your talk, I noticed, Martin's getting serious now. He's got his hair down.
I only bring the hair down for very special occasions. When I got married and when I was at TBEX.
Very nice.
No, it's almost like that. It's like this extra way to just symbolize something. I don't know. Like when I bring it down, it's not something you see that often. Yeah, I become a lion.
I noticed you right away.
Yeah, that's awesome.
When you had your hair down, I'm going, look at Martin.
So you don't have it down in your videos?
No, I always wear it up like this. Most of the time. My wife tell me to bring it down more often, but it's so much work. I don't know how girls does it. I had to blow dry my hair for 30 minutes in my hotel room before that speech today.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I see that.
But I travel I'm so optimistic that I travel with a hairdryer.
Are you joking?
That's very optimistic, Ballet.
When I'm feeling really optimistic, I pluck that sucker in.
That's great. That is good. Maybe we'll come back.
Martin, what's your favorite thing about TBEX? You've been to a couple now.
Good question. So it's my second TBEX. And from what I experienced so far is that people keep coming back to the TBEXs. It's like everybody here has a badge with their name, and you put number of stars on your badge, sticker. So yeah, Palle, you have a couple. How many do you have?
I have 9.
You have 9. I have 2.
And over there's Chris Christensen with 25 stars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting to here is it's like a family. People keep coming back to these because they're so valuable. That's what I'm realizing. It's also so many different, platforms that people are working on here. You have bloggers, Instagrammers, and then you have me as a YouTuber, and we had so many good conversations. TikTokers, yeah. And then so when you bring all these people together, there are so many things that we can learn from each other without being direct competitors.
Right.
So it's a sharing culture.
I think even among YouTubers who are technically competitors, just when I grabbed you were standing at a table with 5 YouTubers.
Yeah.
Sharing ideas, I guess.
It is so rare to see. Yeah. YouTubers were a special animal. We're a different breed, I've learned from bloggers. We don't like to share that much. It's not a thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a thing.
Oh.
It's but here, I'll share a little bit. It's really cool. I've been looking for this type of community where I can meet people and share. And I've learned so much from even creators. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have.
Yeah.
It's more about how they think about it.
And JJ talked about that. He's doing a lot of videos from San Diego and Las Vegas. And he's got a very good friend in New York who does videos from New York.
Yeah.
And they are not competing with each other. So they tap into each other and give each other feedback all the time.
Yeah.
And those kind of people are great. I have a podcasting friend that we give feedback on each other's stuff as well.
Great.
And I think it's so valuable if you want to grow.
It helps, right? I think what I've been missing is a community. I've been looking for it my entire life.
You found it.
Yeah, I found it. It's really awesome. So that kind of wraps up my answer to that question.
I'm glad that you found a community.
Yeah.
Your tribe.
Yeah, we love having you here.
You guys do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Supporting TBEX.
Absolutely.
For your talks today. And next time, hopefully Patrice can join you.
We hope so.
And Rick, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad I could make it. I woke up from my nap.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, I knew that was a fire you needed to put out just before. Thank you so much, Martin. It's so great to see you.
Good stuff.
We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Travel Matters, the official podcast of TBEX. This episode of Travel Matters was hosted by TBEX CEO Rick Calvert and radio vagabond Palle Bo, and produced by radioguru.co.uk. See more about upcoming TBEX events on tbexcon.com. You can follow Palle Bo on theradiovagabond.com.